Chuck here from cheapbastard.net. I gotta keep it down because I'm in a store right now and they don't like big loud guys. Today we're gonna talk about beef jerky, how to make your own, quick, fast, better than you're gonna get in the store. $5.49 for a little pack like this, and you've got like 4 pieces in there, and it's all full of sodium nitrate, corn syrup, salt wine, and beef flavor. Beef flavor and beef jerky. We're going to show you how to get it done quicker, faster, and even better right here on the cheapbastard.net. Keep it locked, all right? Come on. $5.49 for beef jerky? Are they on drugs? $5.49 for beef jerky. We're going home. We're doing it ourselves right here. cheapbastard.net. Hi guys, Chuck here once again for the cheapbastard.net, and as promised, I'm going to take you through today's lesson, which is how to make your own beef jerky at home and not get screwed at the grocery store and pay $5 or $6 for a pack of spindly, thin, paper thin, see-through, translucent jerky. We're going to do it on our own here. What I've done here is I've already cut some pieces up that we're going to throw in the pot in a second here, but I'll take you through the process. Our good friend Justice supplied us with some moose meat, and took this out of the freezer last night and let it soften up, and we're going to show you how to slice it through before we get through the process. Now, the first thing is, look for the grain where the muscle tissue runs. This one runs lengthwise like this. We're going to cut cross grain to the meat to get the most tender cuts as possible. The size of your cuts matters. You don't want to go any bigger than 1/4 inch, and you want it around 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch, and you're going to see why once we get to the dehydration method at the back end of this video. So we'll take it through, cut it just like so. Always use a sharp knife, guys. More people get injured each year by using, look at that, tender victuals. More people get injured each year from using dull knives, dull blades, than they do sharp knives, because when you have a dull knife, what you do is you exert too much pressure, you slip, the blade deflects, and you end up cutting yourself. So, take a look there. Look at that. It just slices so evenly. Now remember, later on, once we get to the dehydrating process, this meat is going to shrink down to about 1/3 of its size. So don't think that you've lost any meat or that you're somehow screwing yourself out of the process, because what you're doing in the dehydration process is just eliminating all of the water and the moisture. So you're not losing any fiber, you're not losing anything else. Look at that. That's such a nice cut. Thanks again to Justice for coming through on that. There, and this one's on a bit on the thicker side of things there, but that'll do just fine. Now if you're using beef or some sort of domestic type meat, what you want to do is, I would highly recommend don't use pork, because you run the risk of getting trichinosis along the way. So avoid pork as a meat stock for your beef jerky, for your jerky I should say. Try to stick with either, wild game like venison or moose or caribou or something, but if you want to do domesticated meat, beef is fine. Look for the cheap cuts. They usually come out on Sunday night after everybody's done their shopping for the week on the Saturday and the Sunday. So Sunday night meat tends to get marked down in the grocer's freezer, so buy it then. It's a lot cheaper, but you're going to have to remove the fatty and the connective tissue inside there, because if you don't remove it, fat doesn't dehydrate very well, and if the fat remains in there, that oil inside the fat is going to make the meat go rancid after a while. So you either have to eat it right away or remove the fat. You can't have it both. Remove the fat, and you can look for long-term storage in terms of weeks or months if you vacuum seal it, or eat it on site. But either way, it doesn't tend to last very long, because even if I leave it on the counter for a while, the kids tend to go through it awful fast. Alright, moving forward, we'll get our big bowl. There you go. We're going to toss everything in here. We're going to have more than enough to go around on this run. I'll tell you right now. And there you go. We'll give you a shot of that. There you go. Okay, now that we have all of our meat pieces cut up into little thin ribbons, again about 1/8 inch thick, we're going to move on to the next process, which is part of the marinade. We're going to let them soak for about 1.5 hours, maybe 2 hours, pop them in the fridge. Here's what we're going to use. It's all stuff you have laying around the house. I'm going to use about 25% Worcestershire sauce. You might have it, you might not have it. Usually this is on the must-have list for older people. Soy sauce as well. Everybody should have soy sauce in their house. If you don't, it's probably because it's stocked with Michaelinas in your fridge. And now, here's probably the more exotic, and I use that term loosely, is ginger. Now, the ginger is going to add sort of the sweetness and the tang to it, whereas the Worcestershire sauce and the soy sauce is going to add a little bit of bite. Nothing too hard or offensive, because again, you sort of have to please everybody, which isn't always easy. So I'm going to use about 50% ginger in terms of my ratio. So let me get there we go. We get the ginger in there, and then about 25% soy sauce. Again, this is all to feel, okay? There's nothing scientific going on here. So, but the ratio is about 50, 25, 25, at least in my book, how I do it. Again, modify yours to taste. You can do anything you want. I don't have the monopoly on good ideas here. And then we'll put the Worcestershire in there. And that's kind of got a slightly smoky, curious type flavor. So we get the smoke, we get the tang, we got the bite in there. Making sure your hands are washed and clean. I just washed mine a second ago. Move it all around in there. Don't be shy. Make sure everything gets covered nice and evenly. There we go. There we go, off to the fridge with you. Okay guys, it's been about 90 minutes so far, and we popped the moose meat out of the fridge, and I'll tell you, it's really absorbed that marinade nicely. It's a good color, good consistency, and now we're going to pop it. It's so simple. We're going to pop it inside of our dehydration trays right here. I got a stack ready to go. I'll take you through the process. You cannot go wrong with this. Now, I'm going to walk you through. You're going to flatten out each strip of meat. Now, you want to make sure that they don't lay over on top of each other. Okay, and create a traffic wreck. So we want to make sure that they're spread out and they all have room to breathe, because what happens in this process is it's a convection process. The air has to rise up through the stack of trays, flow over the meat, and move on to the next tray. Okay, we've got all of our beef jerky in the racks now. Get them all locked up here. We move them over to the dehydrator. Set them in. Into our wonderful, beautiful $40 dehydrator from the big box store. And everything's lined up and in place. Houston, we have launch. There you go. The sound, the smell of goodness. Alright, we'll get everything cleaned up now. The dehydrator's pumping out air, going to work on that moose meat. And we should have everything ready by, it's 4 o'clock now. Maybe by 9, 10 o'clock tonight, she should be ready crisp. Remember, you want it just crisp enough so that it's firm to stand up, and when you tap it on the counter, it makes that sort of sound, or tick tick, or clack clack, or whatever language you speak. So we'll check on it in about 4 or 5 more hours. We go about our business. Well, it's been about 4 hours now, and the first few racks are coming off the dehydrator assembly line. Here's an example of what they look like. I don't know if you can see that in there. I'm hoping you can. Looking a little bit black, very brown. Let's give it the old tap test. Listen closely. There you go. Just brittle enough, but not so that it falls apart in your hands. Mildly sweet, smoky, tangy enough. It's perfect. Will satisfy anybody. In the next hour, a few racks will be coming off the assembly line as well too. And like I said, we're right on target. It's 8 o'clock now. By 9, 10, it'll be totally complete. You can sit back, watch a little television, and take it all in. Once again, this has been Chuck for thecheapbastard.net. Stay tuned for the next video, guys.